What's good, everybody? Welcome here to the Step Back. I'm your host, Robert Aguirre, and alongside me, as always, will be Marlyn Taylor and Matthew Children. What's good with you guys today?
What's up? I just got off a long shift and class, and I got up to work out earlier, so it's been a fulfilled day.
I feel you there. I mean, I did not. I actually went. Let me rephrase. I went to the grocery store today with my mom.
That was your day?
That was my adventure today. And then I've been getting everything ready for this. Like, this was honestly a lot of work.
Yeah, because I kept getting texts from you while I was at work, and I'm like,
stop texting me. Stop texting me. What about you, Choder?
Yeah, same thing. Had to get up early. We had practice. I don't play. For the viewers out there, I'm a student assistant for my school, Purdue Northwest's men's basketball team. For the coaching staff, and we had a 7 a.m. practice, which means I had to be there at like 6 a.m. So that was not fun. And then I went from there to my day job, and then from my day job, I'm here.
Yeah, you were there for a while too, because we were on FaceTime constantly talking about everything earlier, for tonight. And I mean, I know you were getting your hard work in, like, especially we all know who your boss is over there, and he makes sure you guys get everything done.
To do.
Yeah.
He was your boss for a second too.
I know he was. That's what I'm saying. We all know him. And when you say for a sec, it was really a sec.
All your jobs be a second. A solid little second.
Yeah. Hopefully this new one pans out. I finally got my date for my plumber's test. So.
Plumber?
Yeah.
It took Marlyn. I want to say something. For those listening, Marlyn took like a month to convince our boss to hire Robert, and Robert worked there like a week. Not even.
Well, I lasted longer than Buddy. What was dude's name, Marlyn?
Emmanuel or something like that.
I lasted longer than him.
I forgot. There'd be people coming and going. It was just funny because I hella tried to get you there.
That dude was horrible. He was just not.
And you guys had to work together. The two of you on it.
Oh, that was the worst event. He was horrible.
He hella sounded like he was from. His voice was hella 70s. Yeah, like it was hella that type of vibe.
I don't know what it is with him, but we went on that one event and it was just not good. And I ended up having to do everything, and I didn't even know what I was doing. That's how that event went. But anyways, like we said, this is the Step Back. We're here to just discuss every single thing basketball you guys could possibly think of. We all love basketball. That's all we literally talk about 24/7. I mean, you see Choder right there with the Last Dance shirt. Behind him, he's got Jordan in 98 hitting the game-winning shot.
Black History
Month. Coming, how many more days? What's today? The 22nd, right?
All-Stars. Yeah. I looked at the time like it had told me which day it was.
And then me, like, I'm a huge Bulls fan. Like, that's... I don't know. It's fun to see them. Right now, they're killing them. What's the score right now, Choder?
They're beating them by like 30.
Are up 100-74 on the Houston Rockets. So it's a good day.
Yeah, that's honestly what Houston had been doing to us for so long. I'm so glad to see Harden's out of there. Harden's doing his own thing. Speaking of everything in the NBA, that team's going to be good. Like, speaking of everything with Harden now, we're going to hop on to All-Star game. As last week, we did see, the starters came out for the East and the West. There's some questionable picks, if I'm going to be honest with you. So I'll just read off all the starters that we see here. Where do you guys want to start out, the East or the West?
We can start with the East because I feel like the West is the more egregious.
Okay.
So I won't say it's even egregious. It's just I disagree.
All right, we'll start out with the East then. So you have your captain in Kevin Durant. The two other front court guys you got is Embiid and Giannis. And then in the back court, you got Beal and Irving. Honestly, I agree with the starting lineup. I'll say that. I agree with the starting lineup. The only one that, like, I think would even have a question mark is kind of Kyrie. But I don't think Durant should have been the captain.
No. With you that I was texting saying I'd be disappointed if I was Joel. Like
Yeah.
For first in MVP voting, but I'm not the captain. But I mean, it's a popularity contest for the most part.
It is. I mean,
was a big part.
The one thing I was kind of surprised about, honestly, was that Giannis fell so hard, as where he's been in the past, because he has all the European vote. Everyone overseas just loves Giannis.
But people are just tired because people are tired of him. I think.
Yeah, I see that.
Same.
What do you think, Shoulder?
They're losing more.
I mean, I don't know. I think Kevin Durant being the captain was kind of like an obvious thing. Like when I was voting and I just saw KD, I was like, well, he was before him and LeBron swapped conferences. They were the captains when they were both healthy. So it's like, and then there was Curry. But like those are the two like top when healthy. Him and LeBron and KD are like, those are like the two top dogs of the NBA, in my opinion. That's what I think. I mean,
it's definitely agreeable. Because with KD, I think the big thing where I don't like him being the captain is because of how many games he's missed. He's had those minor injuries all year, but then you have like, I thought it should have been Embiid for what he's doing right now.
Games too, though.
Who?
Joel.
He always misses a couple, just because of his body, like all the beatings it's taken. But also, the level he's playing right now is just ridiculous.
Yeah, but I kind of also get why. It's like I said, it's a popularity contest, and I get why he would lose that contest because even though everybody recognizes him as a top 5 player, arguably, he's kind of a traditional big man. He even with Giannis being the captain last year, like you said, he gets the European vote, but he even brings the ball up the court. He doesn't just post up and do traditional big man stuff.
Yeah, but the thing that like with Embiid that's crazy too is just he'll literally take you off the dribble. Like he obviously has his traditional big man post game. But that dude could break you down, hit you with a step back. It's ridiculous. And I mean, he has his games where he's just on. Like we saw him against Chicago. That dude couldn't miss a shot.
He made
it's just crazy. I mean, I think it should have been Durant or Embiid. I had Embiid higher, but I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it at all.
Yeah, I'm not too mad. And I agree with you, Kyrie being the only question mark. I would say Harden should have started, but he got there a little later, so he spent.
That's where I was gonna go with the two.
In the Western Conference, so I guess maybe if he started off on an Eastern Conference team and was still playing good, and then moved to a Western Conference team, and then moved to the Nets, but I get why he wasn't, but I think as far as just how he's playing, I think he's playing a little bit better than Kyrie.
Yeah, go ahead, Jordan.
I'm not too mad at it.
With Embiid, you make your point is valid because he like you just said all his offensive skills. I mean, and he's also he's a great defensive center, and I feel like that doesn't give him enough credit for sure. Yeah, it's there's always the defensive centers. We'll get into that later. But Embiid, his offensive game it's just top notch. There's some of the stuff he does. It's like how are you so big doing that? It doesn't really make sense. But
because he has touch for his size.
Yeah, because growing up, he always talks about how he loves soccer. He loves soccer, and so that's how he worked on his footwork. So he's light on his feet. And he just reminds you of so many great bigs. Like you see so much Olajuwon in him.
Yeah. And we're not even talking about the defensive end.
Yeah, that's the crazy part. But so we all pretty much agree with the starters. Like we said, the only one arguable is Irving, but I think the only person you can replace with him is Harden. And Harden, he wasn't there long enough, like you said. But so we all agree in the first one that Harden's on the reserves. 100%.
Yeah. 100%.
My next guy that I have making it is Julius Randle.
Oh, yeah. He's on my team, so I've been really keeping up with him.
He's killing it.
He was probably my best pickup because I picked him kind of late. Because with the draft, you get the first and last.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a while before you pick. And I don't think I picked him third. So
he was probably like your 4th, 5th, or 6th pick.
That means I picked him in the 40s. So
yeah. And him on the season, he's been killing it. And it's crazy because it's his 7th season and he's finally figuring it out, which shows you can't just give up on players right away. But he's averaging 22, 11, and 6. And it's such a quiet 22, 11, and 6. No one's talking about it. And even the Knicks, they're in the playoffs right now. And no one's really speaking on it.
At the
Tibbs. Yeah, Tibbs is something else, man. Everywhere he goes, he wins, but his players have to buy in. When his players buy in, they win. Like you look at Minnesota, you had Jimmy who bought in. They still made the playoffs, but you didn't have Wiggins or Towns who bought into that defensive atmosphere that he brought. You know? So who do you guys have? Do you guys both have Randall in there or not?
Yeah, definitely. It's biased. Well, it's not even biased though. He legitimately is doing the best, but he's really on my radar because he's on my fantasy team.
I think it's pretty obvious, but like even though like we're like all Bulls fans, I think Zach Lavine is like if he doesn't make it, I'm gonna like it's crazy to me. He's averaging like 20. He's almost averaging 30. Like
yeah, he's averaging 29 a game.
There's Bill, Embiid,
Curry, and I think Trae Young.
No, Trae Young isn't.
Oh, Luka.
No, I think he's above Luka too.
Oh, really? He passed him?
He's 5th. He's almost averaging 30. He's averaging.
He's at 20 and 9. But I mean, yeah, like I have Zach on my list too. Zach,
my bad. You're right. It is Luka 5th. I thought
there's just like no shot that I mean, there's a shot, but it's just because the only way he doesn't make it is because of the Bulls' record.
But he'll make if Randall makes it, then
he has to. But what? Go ahead. I didn't hear you.
He's playing even better than Randall, in my opinion.
What are you saying, Shoulder? I didn't hear you.
Like, I'm not saying Bradley Beal is better than Zach Lavine, but the Wizards are sitting at the 13th spot in the East, and he's a starter. Like, Zach Lavine's doing the same thing, and they're a couple seeds higher. Like, I feel like you got to give it to Lavine.
I think a lot of the Bradley Beal of him making it too has to do with the fact that he got snubbed the last couple of years, and he's been doing this for years now, and people are finally giving him the respect he deserves. It's just because I mean the Wizards suck. Like I mean you brought them Westbrook. And even Westbrook, he's still playing good, but the team overall is just horrible. You don't have anybody, and you lost Thomas Bryant. That doesn't make anything better. And you gave $60 million to Davis Bertans.
He had that one good game a few days ago.
Yeah, but like, so you have one good game out of what 10
million for one.
So it's just not worth it. But Zach averaging 29, 5 and 5, and over this last about 10 games, he's been averaging like 37 a game.
It's insane.
And if you look at his efficiency, he's like damn near 50, 40, 90.
Yeah, it's insane. And I mean, I'm one person, even before the season, I wanted the Bulls to move Zach. I'll admit it. I wanted them to trade him I wanted Bradley Beal. But in reality, you're trading for the same dude. And Zach, you could argue Zach might be better defensively. Even though they're both, I wouldn't say defensive. I wouldn't say defensive liabilities, but they're not known for the defense.
Yeah. But athleticism of Lavine helps. So
yeah, especially and then the way Lavine, he's a human highlight reel. So I think, and that's somebody you want to see in an All-Star game at that.
Yeah.
Like, imagine him on a breakaway, on a breakaway, and you're just like, oh my God, what's he gonna do right now? No. So here, Charlie, you can go ahead. Who you got next on your bench? So far we've all agreed on Lavine, Randall, and Harden.
I want to say this is an obvious one, but maybe you guys can argue it too. But I got Jason Tatum. I don't know. I don't think it's that hard to argue. He's a great player on the Celtics. He's averaging about 26 points.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna fact check myself, but I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I got him at 26 too.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be right back.
All right.
Sorry.
And he just makes big time plays. Like, I mean, you put the ball in his hands in the end of Celtics games. I mean, if you watch the Pelicans game against the Pelicans yesterday, I mean, it's just dirty.
See, I have Tatum on my bench, but I have him as you can kind of replace him. See, between I don't know how you feel about it, but in my opinion, I think Brown's had a better year.
Talk about that too.
I think Jaylen Brown has had a better year than Tatum, so I have Jaylen Brown above him on my rankings for the bench. And plus the Celtics, they're really struggling. I don't think they deserve 2 All-Stars.
Hot start.
Yeah, I think they're like 15 and 15, 15 and 16 in that range, right around 500.
They're 15 and 15. In the 6th spot.
I have Tatum as the last man on my bench. Even though I'm not.
He made it last year.
Yeah, he did.
Sorry. He didn't play.
He didn't play in the All-Star game.
Yeah, he didn't have that much run.
I think,
but that's understandable.
Yeah, being such a young dude and everything. I think that he's got his time coming, but I think in this season, Jaylen Brown averaging 26, 5, and 4, and his jump this year has been ridiculous. I don't want to say no one really saw it coming, but his jump this year is what a lot of people saw like coming, a couple of years ago, and people started writing him off a little bit. And with what he's doing now, I think that's such deserving of an All-Star appearance, especially for what he's doing on the defensive end. It's insane what he's doing. So I think I have him as my fourth guy.
Fourth?
I have him as like my fourth guy, like after the Randall, Lavine, and Harden.
Mm-hmm.
I have him ranked fourth on my bench, Jaylen Brown.
Nice.
So
I like that.
Sorry about that.
All right. So what do you think? You think we were just saying you think Tatum's gonna make it?
Yeah, I had him. He's on my list, and Brown. Yeah, I heard you guys saying Brown, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was saying how I have Tatum as the last guy on mine. I think Tatum, he's like my last guy on the reserves. I have Jaylen Brown above him right now because of the jump he's made this season.
For guards or just in the reserves?
Well, in the reserves it doesn't matter. It's not by position. It's just whoever makes it.
Oh, so it doesn't have to be certain position to be the best guys.
Yeah. I have Jaylen Brown above him. I have Tatum still making the team, but he's like the last guy on the list, and like he's replaceable with one other person. But I have Jaylen Brown.
The rest of your list, if Jason Tatum's at the end of it, that just seems like you could put 6 players ahead of Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
That's where I have him right now because of how much the Celtics are struggling, and I don't see the Celtics deserving 2 All-Stars right now.
Another point on Brown, it's just kind of like a personal observation. It's just like Kemba Walker being hurt, I think help his growth and his jump for Brown this season for sure to step it up. Because Tatum was Tatum was balling last year and everyone was all hyped about him after like talking crap about him his second year because he didn't have some big jump that they all expected, even though he's only like 19 or 20 years old at the time.
Yeah.
But what else? I was gonna say like you said, like a lot of people early on were like expecting Brown to make that jump right away, and and now some people are like, wow, like Jaylen Brown, like shout out, like I can't believe he's on this jump. But there's players that I know, like from the Indiana area that I've talked to that are just like, yeah, Jaylen Brown's a problem. He was so good coming out of high school. Like it's like some people.
Yeah, it's because of his shot. Yeah. It's because of his jump shot he had before, and he fixed it.
Yeah,
like
he's super efficient now too.
Yeah, his release is just so pure now. And I mean, honestly, this is I don't know, like kind of irrelevant, but he's one of my favorite players to use in 2K because his shot is so smooth.
He is like a perfectly built player. Like he has good form, good technique,
and he does everything you need.
Yeah, he does all that. Yeah. He's just not like a point guard, but as far as a wing player, he's exactly what you want in a wing player.
Okay.
But also, to your point earlier about, like, that stuck with me because I disagree with what you said about them not deserving 2 All-Stars. Mm-hmm. I mean, and technically you did put both of them in the All-Star team, but I don't necessarily agree with what you said because their play is the only reason that they're at 500. Because you look at, they have no depth. Marcus Smart is out. Kemba's not playing good at all. They don't really have bigs. It's because of them that they have that 50.
They got to do everything on that damn team.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that's what makes them an all-stars.
Yeah, it's definitely something to think about with how much they've actually contributed to that team. But the Celtics were supposed to be so much better. And when you bring in these,
when you look at their team, it's like they started off as this nice, well-oiled machine, and then you just see little pieces get taken out one by one. You had Kyrie, and then you had them as young players, but then as they're growing, you take off Kyrie, and now you take off Jason Tatum. They even had even Enes Kanter was kind of a good piece. He was a solid big to come out.
You know who's really slept on in that team that doesn't get like a lot of respect?
Robert Williams.
Well, him, yeah, but I was gonna say Daniel Tice.
Yeah. He's on my fantasy team too.
Daniel Tice is like a really nice NBA player.
He's solid, yeah. Like he's what you want in a backup big, but like that's the problem is sometimes they got to start him. I think he is the most consistent starter.
Yeah, because like I know they try to start Thompson, they try to start Williams.
You don't want him starting.
I mean, Romeo was your first round pick last year, and he's still hurt.
Yeah. Oh, he's hurt. Okay.
This year too.
Well, he was down there, and he got hurt down there, I believe, or he got hurt in practice.
Oh.
And then I mean, Carson Edwards, he just gets hot, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they could both make it, but I have people to replace Tatum that I think could make it. Either over one of them, but I think Jaylen Brown deserves it more than Tatum off of this season.
Because when Tatum was out, Brown was still putting up big numbers and they were getting wins.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But I don't know who you would put above.
Well, Tatum. Here's one of them that I have, because right now we've gone through 5, I believe, right?
5 of the 7
Randall
reserves.
Yeah,
Zach, Randall, Brown, and
Harden.
Tatum. Oh, Harden. Okay, yeah. So
Well, another guy I have above Tatum.
Holding off Tatum, yeah. So that's
another guy I have above Tatum, and it's because they have the best record in the East, Ben Simmons. The Sixers definitely deserve 2 All-Stars this year. And I mean, Simmons, he's the best. He's a guard, but you know, he's the best defensive guard in the NBA.
Yeah. Our best defensive player, because he really can guard.
He's great. And the thing is, it sucks that he doesn't shoot, because that's what people want to see. But he's been so good since his rookie year. But it's not like he's taking like another jump, is because ever since his rookie year, he was already dominant. You know, like his numbers have gotten better, but he's just not shooting. You know, if a dude's averaging he's averaging pretty much like 18, 8, and 8 on the season.
Yeah.
And his points per game might be a little bit less than that. But either way, it's fantastic. And you're an amazing defensive player. I got Simmons.
It's just so
too,
limited.
For sure.
I
think another thing that kind of hurts Simmons, and this might be irrelevant, but like the Sixers are always moving people. Like they're always moving people around Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, like changing pieces. Like they brought in Josh Richardson and then they traded him away. Maybe like obviously like there's things probably that just didn't work well or whatever. But like, I mean, it's kind of hard for like a player like Ben Simmons to kind of get comfortable and like be able to become this great point guard in this system. It's like the system's going to change every year. Like they just keep, you know, like, so, but I mean, yeah, he's dominant. He averages 15, 8, and 8. Like if you, just because of the social media aspect of everyone complaining about how he doesn't shoot being a point guard, like if you were to tell someone else, like if you were to describe a player and describe Ben Simmons' play style, he can guard 1 through 5. He could play the 1, he could play the 4, he could pass, he could rebound, he could push it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and like, if you just said that and you'd be like, you want that player in your team? He'd say, yeah. But if you're like Ben Simmons, you're like, oh, he doesn't shoot, because some people just don't follow it, understand like the impact he has on a basketball game. It's just kind of ridiculous. That's just how I look at it for Ben Simmons. And
you said you didn't have Simmons on it?
No, I actually forgot about him. I made it in 10 minutes, but I was just thinking of guys. I was looking at what it was. I was looking at the scoring list. Like I just went to ESPN stats and then top scores, and I'm like, I feel like the best All-Stars would be on this list, and he wasn't on the list, which is the reason I just didn't think about him. But as far as I'm trying to think of one of the guys, because I put 8 guys on my reserves list for the East.
Mm-hmm.
And I was gonna like, hopefully the discussion will help me weed out certain guys, but now you got another guy on there, so
yeah.
But a guy that I have that you might not have is Jimmy Butler.
I don't have Jimmy Butler on mine.
And I love Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
Jimmy missed quite a few games though.
Yeah,
so that's the big thing. That's the big thing for me.
That might be a reason to put Tatum over him, is because Simmons, but I would still put Tatum over Jimmy. So
yeah, I don't have Jimmy even
being over.
I don't have Jimmy even barely missing the cut. Like I just don't have Jimmy in there because of how much the Heat have been struggling and the fact that he's missed a lot of games.
Yeah. So yeah, I think so. Yeah, he's a guy who I can cross out, but that leaves 7 guys, and I don't know if I put Ben Simmons over these other 7. Let me say the next guy. So I think we can agree that Jimmy isn't on there. Did you have Jimmy, Choder?
I want to, but because he's hurt.
But he's been putting up some big numbers. But like the last two games, he's put up really good numbers, but they lost like more like a few of them.
Well, honestly, if you're going someone based off of that, I would put Bam above Jimmy so far this year.
But he played more games too.
He's played a lot more games, and he's been playing fantastic basketball too.
They have been getting better since he's been back, but they still are losing games.
A lot. Guys have been out because of COVID. They've been missing games.
My bad. But the next guy I have, who I think you guys might have, is Sabonis.
Yeah, Sabonis is the last guy on my bench.
It was between him or Brogdon. I feel like the Pacers should have won an All-Star.
Brogdon is averaging points, but he's averaging more rebounds, and the assist is actually pretty close. Sabonis is a really good passer.
Sabonis is just nasty.
Yeah, more than just the stats. I impact-wise, it is close because Brogdon kind of runs the offense. But Sabonis is pretty efficient too. And like, I don't know, you just look at his numbers some days and it's crazy. Like he'll have 35, 11, and 8.
Yeah. And it's so quiet. Like no one's talking about it.
Just because the Pacers is dull. Like you know, really. But they have a pretty well-built team. It's just, they're not going to go anywhere. But I do like the way their team's put together. You got
they need a star.
Yeah.
They have well, I mean, don't get me wrong. Sabonis is a star. Brogdon's a fantastic player. Miles Turner's great defensively, but they need like a Paul George. Like they need like a Paul George. They need like a Kawhi.
Paul George with this team would be conference finals, maybe.
Oladipo, when he was healthy, he was a dog on the Pacers. And I mean, unfortunately, because of his knee stuff, like you know what happened. But like, it sucks that he got traded because he was like that. That's who they needed. But he got hurt.
We just gotta wait and see with Karis LeVert. We just have to wait and see with Karis LeVert.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about him.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, everything says it's supposed to be good. I don't think he's coming back this year, but we'll see next year because I mean, he was killing it.
Would they say it was?
It was like a small cancerous type thing. It was a tumor.
Yeah, but did they say if it was like benign or malignant?
I don't know the answer to that. But I mean, they said the surgery was successful, but it was only reason they saw it was because he got traded, which is crazy to me.
Yeah,
that's crazy. So, well, did you guys have anybody else on your bench?
Yeah.
Let's see. Who have we named? I'm gonna go what I have real quick.
Okay.
I got Harden, Lavine, Randall. I have Tatum and Brown like side by side because I mean you can pick either one or pick both. Simmons, Sabonis.
Randall, Tatum, Brown, Simmons, Sabonis. Wait, say that again. You said Lavine, Harden, Tatum, Brown, Randall, Sabonis, and Simmons. That's who you got.
That's exactly what. Yeah.
I got.
That's what we have talked about. That's all I was saying. I mean, some guys I've had on my list. I mean, I had all those guys, but some guys that I think should be in the conversation but will probably miss the cut are like Colin Sexton.
I have him.
He's having a great year. I just don't. But he's not. He's not there yet.
Because I missed Simmons. I completely forgot about him, but I put Trey.
I have Trey missing the cut. I have Trey missing the cut.
I think it is close because Simmons does so much. But I don't know, man. Without Trey Young, the Hawks they're under 500, but they'd be way under 500.
They probably have 2 wins.
Yeah, and I mean, the Sixers are doing really good, but that's mostly Embiid. So I mean, and I'm I'm looking at the assist leaders to see who's higher. Trey Young is third.
Yeah, he's at like 9, right? 9.5, something like that.
Now, he's had some weird moments in the season where he's had horrible games, or he'll even have like a stretch of a few games where he's super inefficient and like it's a bad loss. But I think for the most part of the season, he's been like good still. It's because we already kind of got used to him being good.
Mm-hmm.
But like 27 and 9.5 assists is really good numbers for a third-year guy.
Yeah, I just think one reason I don't have him in there too is because I thought the Hawks were going to take a leap this year. I really thought they were going to jump up and be a better team.
I don't think that's his fault though. like you got Rondo, who's supposed to be a good veteran, and he's never playing. DeAndre Hunter was playing really well, and he's one of their main pieces, and he's on my fantasy team too. He hasn't been in there for a while.
You love to throw that in there.
Oh yeah, because my fantasy team is cold right now, so and I'm better than all you guys. But you got like Cam Reddish, who's solid. He'll have a good game every now and then. You got Clint Capella, but even he misses games. And then Gallinari isn't playing that well either. And Bogdanovich, who's a really good player, has been hurt too. So they just have they really have like the most injuries, because when you look at all those players separately, that's like a playoff team.
Yeah.
But they just stay hurt. So I wouldn't even put that on him. And if we got Bradley Beal starting, he's averaging 33, but you got a guy averaging 29 and 10 almost. 27 and 10.
His last couple games, 35, 15. This is Trae Young's last 5 games. Yeah. 35 points, 6 rebounds, 15 assists, 30 points, 11 assists, 4 rebounds. 40 points against the Celtics, 8 assists. He puts up the numbers, and I think if he made it last year with the numbers he was putting up, I think he should make the All-Star game. But
and the 40
I can see how he misses it.
Shot 70%. The 31-point game, he shot 62%. The 35-point game, he shot 52.6%.
But in reality, though, if you think about it, who do you have over? Who do you have him making it over those guys we were just talking about? Over Simmons?
Brown. Yeah. I have him over Brown.
I don't know. I see Trae Young barely missing. I honestly think it's going to come down to Trae Young or Zach Lavine.
No, I think Lavine's a lock. If Bradley Beal is a lock like that, then I think Zach Lavine.
But the thing is, the Bulls don't have the national attention. The Bulls don't get the national recognition they deserve.
The Pacers hella don't. So if you're basing off national attention, I think he'd make it over Sabonis.
Well, don't the Pacers still have a better record than the Bulls?
Yeah, but Zach.
That's a big thing, and Sabonis is a well-known name in basketball now. Lavine's just now taking the lead.
I think Lavine is a more known name than Sabonis
because of dunking, but I'm saying for his actual recognition on his game, he's just now getting the recognition for it.
Well, I think Lavine is a lock.
I hope he's a lock, but I don't see him as a lock. Everywhere I've looked I've looked at I don't see quote unquote experts.
Maybe it's because we're Chicago fans and we just get fed with a lot of Lavine stuff on our feed and just that's who we see the most. That's the games we watch. Maybe that's why I'm seeing him as way over Sabonis, but even Simmons, I think he'd make it over Simmons.
I know a lot of people because the thing is fans don't pick the bench. It's all coaches. The coaches pick the bench for the NBA. So I think it's going to end up coming down to the fact that
don't have a part in that either because the
players not for the bench. I don't think it's for the bench.
It's just coaches.
That's what I believe. Coaches, and I think it's media.
Because I know media, players, and fans got the starters.
Yeah, so I think it's just coaches and media for the bench. I could be wrong, but I know it's for a fact coaches have the biggest say in it. And I think it's going to end up they're going to go with Simmons over because of how well the Sixers have been playing. But the other guys that I have barely missing the cut, I have 2 more. You already mentioned Trae Young. You said Sexton. I have Jeremy Grant barely missing the cut for what he's done in Detroit this season. They suck. He's not going to make the All-Star team. But
he's not.
For how well he's been playing, putting up 24, 5, and 3, he bet on himself this offseason. Remember, he was coming off the bench for the Nuggets last year. And now
he was a really important player because his defense was.
Yeah, and now his offense, he's just jumped. I think he's a fantastic player. He's definitely going to get. I think some coaches will say his name. He won't make the team, but he's somebody who I think will just miss. And then the other guy is just Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton's just 50, 40, 90 every year. Yeah. A great basketball player, but I don't want to see him in the All-Star game.
You know what else I like about Chris Middleton is he's starting to really be more of a facilitator too.
Mm-hmm.
The Bucks get a lot of nationally televised games, and I'll watch them every now and then. Every time I watch one, I see he's facilitating because he kind of draws a lot of attention because he's their best perimeter scorer. Giannis isn't a scorer from the perimeter, so
yeah.
He can create more shots for other people because Giannis, since he's already in the post, he has to kick it out rather than dish inside. And it's harder to get assists like that. So I see Chris Middleton becoming a better facilitator. But I just think there's other guys, granted they're on worse teams, that are having such good years and making their teams better. We got the Bulls and Zach making them better because they've been horrible. And even though they're still under 500, they're showing progress. Randall with the Knicks, he's playing really well. I just don't think Middleton is really in that conversation. Because I don't even think he'd make it over Trey or Simmons, probably. I don't think he'd make it over Simmons either.
What are you saying, Schroeder?
My bad.
I think we kind of are all in agreement about who we got in the East as far as our starters. Or
that
reserves,
one's.
I mean.
Yeah, I think that one's pretty constant. Like, there's the East has its top.
Those last few guys are, because I still got Trey.
Honorable mentions. I just want to point out, not saying they're going to make the All-Star game, but I think like this, they're in the conversation or whatever when you look at like potential reserves. Nikola Vucevic in Orlando. Mm-hmm. He is a stud. He puts up like pretty efficient, like monster numbers every year. Who else do I got right now? Gordon Hayward, I think, is having a great year in Charlotte, like in a fantastic year. Like he looks like real comfortable in what the offense.
The team.
Mm-hmm. And he's been like their guy as far as like kind of their bucket. Obviously, they got all their dynamic guards or whatever.
And that's another team that like fits the mold of what I was talking about, like teams that were really bad but they're showing progress, and like they have that one guy leading them, but they have a solid conglomerate of players. Who's their coach though? Because I think their coach is pretty good. I don't know his name, but
there you go. And that's like the LaMelo Ball effect too.
You said.
Yep, James. There you go. And then one more mention I had was Pascal Siakam. Is someone that could make it
over 500 now.
You could actually.
They're starting to pick it up.
And you could throw Van Vliet in there as well.
Who? Van Vliet? Yeah. These are all guys that I was thinking of, but I just thought that they didn't have a good enough case. But I do like you mentioning them because it's just like a little nod. Like we see you, they're playing really well.
Especially Vucevic. Vucevic, he has the resume. He has the resume, but he doesn't have the recognition for it.
Yeah. Well, I just think the Magic aren't doing good enough. But like, because it's like if he made it, then it's like Trae Young would definitely have to make it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's another team that's interesting because now they're over 500 with the Raptors. So it'll be weird if they don't have an All-Star, but I don't think they will because Siakam's pretty constant as like their main scorer, but like they really just have like a team where like you really don't know who it's gonna be each night because some nights Kyle Lowry will put up 30. You see Van Vliet put up 52. You got Siakam who's a constant 20, and then another guy on my fantasy team, Chris Boucher, who he went on a streak of like double doubles, and he gets a lot of blocks too. Like he's just a solid player.
Yeah, they're a great, well-rounded team.
But and Nick Nurse is a great coach too. He's good at making adjustments.
Yeah, I think that's definitely
might be the best coach in the league.
He's right up there.
Or Quinn Snyder too. He's been under the radar too.
Yeah, we'll talk more about like all the coaches and everything next week because next week we're gonna actually we're gonna be doing the mid-season awards, giving out each one to individual players, coaches, teams, everything like that. Because I mean it's crazy. It's already been halfway through the season. It doesn't even feel like it.
Yeah.
But we'll move on to the West right now. The West, the captain comes at no surprise. It's LeBron. Yeah. Honestly, there's no argument there. He's the face of basketball. In the backcourt, you have Steph and Luka, and in the front court, you have Jokic and Kawhi. I'm fine with everything except for Luka.
I think that's everyone.
It should be Dame. Yeah. Dame's top 5 for MVP. Everything you got him top 3.
I got him 3rd.
Over who?
Everybody under LeBron and Embiid.
Yeah.
Honestly, I might put him above LeBron at this point.
I actually had him and Jokic like right here tied.
I do like Jokic, but I think record doesn't always play a part. But I think with the Blazers specifically, it really plays a part because he's literally like winning their games for him. Like,
well, that's what I was gonna say because he's winning all these games. He doesn't have McCollum. He doesn't have Nurkic.
Who's another guy on my fantasy team, which is why I have the best fantasy team, and he's hurt.
Stop talking about your fantasy team.
Yeah, we don't because my team's better than him.
But yeah, he's
what, third in scoring now, averaging 30, like 8 assists, and their next best player is damn near Gary Trent Jr., who's also on my fantasy team.
Stop.
Honestly, my fantasy team is what connects me to the game still. Like, that's how I look at the stats of each game. And
you sound like the biggest Blazers fan in the world right now.
But, like, and I got Melo, too.
Crazy.
Stop.
But, like, you see it, and, like, but listen to these names. Gary Trent. Carmelo Anthony would be dope, like, in 07, but you got current Carmelo Anthony.
That's not cool.
Robert Covington.
Robert Covington is such a good – what's the right word?
He was doing good earlier in the season.
No, Robert Covington is such a great player for what he does, but it doesn't provide too much.
No, he's just there for what he does.
He's great at what he does.
Who's their big?
Well, Zach Collins is hurt. Ian is cancer. They have cancer.
Their bigs are never healthy.
Cancer.
Oh, yeah. But, like, no defense. It's like damn near all Dame and Gary Trent Jr. who's on my team. But they it's like, and they're well above 500. They're like 18-10.
I think they're third or fourth in the West.
Yeah, and it's like no CJ.
Yeah, so we're all in agreement though that Dame should be the starter.
Yeah, he should be the starter.
It's number one on my thing.
Okay, so he's all on our bench, and then I'm guessing so we think he should be a starter, and then we all have Luka as like the number one guy on our bench, right? So we really don't have to discuss that part.
Like I said, it was egregious earlier, and I won't say it's too egregious because Luka's numbers are insane, but the Mavericks aren't performing well. But I do like Luka, and I'm not super mad, but I am mad because, like, Dame always gets kind of overlooked.
Yeah.
There was plenty of seasons he missed the game, the All-Star game in general. But back then, it was kind of warranted because the West was crowded with good guards. Well,
I think a big thing in that, though, is the fact that he plays in Portland. They just don't have fans. And Luka, he plays in Dallas. So Dallas has a lot of fans, first of all, and he's from Europe. So he gets all the overseas vote. So everybody loves Luka. That's the big thing.
And we can't really say, the fans shouldn't have the starter vote. It should be the coach. But you can argue whatever it is. There's always going to be somebody who you feel should. But I do think it's a consensus that, like, Dame is playing better than – because even in their head-to-head, he won and he hit the go-ahead shot and Luka missed it.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of shows their season. Like, Luka is good. He's who you want taking the last shot, but he won't always – and they just don't always come out with the win.
Mm-hmm. So we move Luka to the bench. Choder, who you got is like your next guy off the bench then?
He might be a little high, but I got Donovan Mitchell.
That's who I have.
I mean, he's first. He's the guy on the Jazz. They're the first in the West. I mean, you got to give them the nod. They're 24-6. It's not like they're just kind of right there. No, they're legit.
They just won 19 out of 20 games. Pretty good.
Yeah, insane.
And honestly, I think he definitely he's moved up like crazy on the MVP rankings for how good that they've been playing. And the fact that he's playing behind Steph, Luka, and Dame all in the Western Conference, he could have definitely gotten looks as a starter. It's just the fact he's playing behind those guys.
This is
we got Mark.
Random, but what do you think about Steph this season? Because, like, I feel like his hype train kind of died down a week or two ago. But, I mean, he's still performing well. But, like, do you have him top 5 in MVP voting? Or, like, because no one was mad that Steph made it over Dame.
I think Steph is right in that, like, 5 to 7 range for MVP, even though he's putting up like 1 through 5 numbers for MVP. It's just the fact of guys like Embiid, you have Dame, and Curry already won MVP, so he's going to get that MVP treatment, like LeBron's gotten over the last 10 years. You know,
I shouldn't say talking about like where. What do you mean by MVP treatment? Do you mean like he's going to get more votes or he's going to get less?
He's going to get less because exactly like how Jordan got it in the 90s. MJ could have won MVP for 10 straight years, but they were giving it to Olajuwon. They were giving it to Barkley. They were giving it to Malone. When Jordan clearly deserved it, but they wanted to spread it around the league.
Clyde Drexler.
Yeah. Who you got as your next guy? So we both got Lillard and Don. Go ahead, Toder. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just think Steph. I don't think it was that big of a. There was a big of a blow up as Steph making the starting All-Star game, because I think like the hype train, like you said, died down because people kind of just got used to like how he said, like people are kind of used to LeBron being so good. It's just kind of with Steph, like, okay, he's healthy and he's doing what he was doing, a couple of years ago. I still got him. Him and Dame are like right there. He's obviously the best point guard in the league. Mm-hmm. But I'm still taking Steph just because that's been my guy for a couple of years. But Dame's, I mean, you can't go wrong with Dame either. I just wanted to call that out real quick. Mm-hmm. But go ahead.
By the way, I used to have Russ versus Dame debates, and that's completely over now. Been over for a few years, but now it's not even
over.
Yeah, you can't even mention them in the same breath anymore.
No, like I for real be
poor Russ.
Russ is good though, but
yeah, who you got, Mar?
I don't know if I want to say this guy yet, but forget it. I'll say it because he's shooting 62% and averaging 25 a game, which is crazy. And I know you know him because he's on your fantasy team. Zion Williamson.
Boom. Yeah, that's who I have.
Now, I was kind of iffy about him because I'm like, their record isn't that good. And I don't want to put him just because of popularity. But 25 points on 62% shooting is insane. And then I looked through I was trying to look through players to see who I put in the reserves. And I just couldn't find a really solid player to put in the reserves over him. So I got Zion.
Go ahead.
I think the next guy I have is like a lock for all of us too, but I'll just wait.
Go ahead, Charter.
So I just don't think with Zion, just to go off what you said, I just don't think teams because coaches are like the main vote for the reserves, and coaches can't figure out Zion yet. His stats speak for themselves. So I think he's getting it.
So I have Zion at the end of mine, and I have him as a 50-50 with one other player.
I'm just saying, I hope it's not Ingram. He's not on mine.
Well, no, I have Ingram barely missing. But it's between him and another player. I'll wait till the end to mention who the other player is, unless one of you guys mention him already. But I think Zion could make it. But the fact of where I always go into it kind of like where the Pelicans are at in the standings. I don't know if he'll make it. And I think there's other guys who are deserving of it a little bit more for what they've been doing for their teams. And they've been putting up just as good stats. But I think
As Zion?
Yeah. No, obviously not on the percentages. The 62% is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Marlyn was about to call it out so fast.
No. I'm really interested in who you got. I just realized I don't have a seventh player.
Yeah, I have Zion barely missing it. I don't really want to. I guess I'll go.
My bad.
You just had a brain blast, bro. So I'll go into who I have next. This will probably make both of you guys pretty mad, but the fact that their team has been the best team in the league this year, they have to have 2 All-Stars. So we have to go into the most boring All-Star of all time, and that's being Rudy Gobert. Look, this is my angle on Rudy Gobert. So I know how you two feel about it. Schroeder has something he has to say about Rudy Gobert. But the thing is with Gobert, his defense is so good. Like his defense is like unworld, like that it makes up for his boring offense. And the fact that the Jazz are what'd you say, 25 or 24-6?
24.
So the Jazz are 24-6. They won 19 out of 20 games. They're the best team in the league. They have to have 2 All-Stars. And I'd rather see Gobert than see Mike Conley or Bojan Bogdanovic or Royce O'Neal.
There's a guy who I don't know if you have him, but I think my guys and this guy go over him. Only thing is this guy didn't play a lot of games.
Oh, hold up. Wait for that.
I wanna say something about Rudy Gobert too, because
that's where I was gonna let Choder go next.
No, Marlyn, go first.
I have a bad reaction to him, but I don't hate Rudy Gobert. It's just I don't like that type of player because it's so like I was saying this to somebody the other day. Like players like that, they're not hoopers. They just play basketball. They're basketball players. If Rudy Gobert came up to you and said, "Yeah, I hoop,"
you tell him no, you don't.
He doesn't hoop. No. You play basketball. Now,
you're a rim protector.
Yeah, you work at basketball. That's your job.
It's not his career. It's a job.
It's a job. He clocks in.
It's his 9 to 5.
It's a big ass hourly wage because he's getting that $220, but he's not a hooper.
So put it this way.
Like that type of player, but I also, like I said, I had a visceral reaction when you said that, but I do appreciate like players that serve a good purpose and do what they're supposed to, because if I have that reaction to Gobert, then I'd have to have the same reaction to Robin. But I actually really like Robin. Players that just like they rebound, they defend the rim, or even a guy who like is a perimeter defender like Roberson. Like sometimes you just need those players.
Yeah.
Oh, even though I had that reaction, like
after Rudy,
I'm not too mad at it. It's just weird when you have a player who like they do their job so well that like you want to put them in.
Like Rudy's the best you can get as a rim protector. It really doesn't get better, and the only other person is like, well, I was gonna say Miles Turner. That's right. Like he's the only person you can compare.
And Embiid too. I think Embiid.
But it's just, I think it's just the fact that the Jazz are 24-6. You have to put Gobert in the game. I don't want to see him play. He doesn't have to play. Just put him at the end of the bench. But okay, I would be more upset. I would be more upset if Gobert was starting in the All-Star game. Him as a reserve, I'm fine with.
This was 2014. Everybody would love Gobert. Like that's when DeAndre Jordan made the All NBA team.
Yeah, like
no competition for
now. I want to hear Choder. I want to hear Choder talk about Rudy Gobert.
I mean, Marlyn brought up a lot of good points, but like I just feel like Rudy Gobert has got a lot of love for doing things that like if you give like an average like you said, he's not a hooper, he's just a big rim protector. There's a lot of guys you can find that can do what Rudy Gobert does. Maybe not at that level, but I just think I don't even want to get into it that hard. But I just think I feel like the 2 Defensive Player of the Year awards is kind of ridiculous. I just feel like I feel like it's kind of, even though he's a great rim protector, as far as like where the game is, as far as like you got bigs that can switch and guards, and like it's not easy to score them like Giannis per se, even though he just got cooked like a couple nights ago by Van Vliet. But I just feel like his awards kind of help him out a little bit. Like if you were to read like where he's at, like All-Star, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, like whatever, all defensive team, it's just like, damn, this dude's really good. But then you watch him, and Marlyn says it, like you just don't. It's not like you're like paying money to go see Rudy Gobert. And
he's
just
a great lob catcher.
And it's just like, I don't know. It just kind of feel like he just gets a lot of love, and I just feel like he gets too much for when I can name like 5 centers that are better than him off the top of the dome right now. Like Embiid's better than him, Jokic's better than him, Bam's better than him. Even though Carl Anthony Towns is on sucking in Minnesota. And then I just not a big Gobert guy. Sorry.
So do you guys?
He gets a lot of disrespect.
Yeah, just going back, Marlyn said like a good point. Like you just kind of have to respect like what he does for his team, and I mean they're 24-6. Like no matter what we say, like I'm no hooper, but like so. I mean it's just you got to respect it.
That's the foundation for that.
It's what it is. Yeah. So
do you guys have Gobert in the game though?
Yeah, no. I mean, he's got to make it.
I did think about him, but I thought I had my 7 already. But I do think, even though I didn't have my 7, there is a guy that I put ahead of him.
Okay.
But if he replaces this guy, then I'm not too mad because of the amount of games. I'll just say him because I'm interested to see what you guys have to say. But Paul George, that's the guy who I was like, oh, because I hadn't thought about him. But if we're talking about pure numbers, he's definitely in the game. But the only argument you could have is the amount of games he's played.
Because I have Paul George
40, 90, averaging 24, but he's played 22 games.
Yeah.
Of 30, 31. So, yeah, but like, so I have Paul George in and I don't have Gobert in, so that means there's somebody who you have who I don't. I mean, who I have who you don't.
What do you think, Jordan?
Paul George is a good pick. I didn't pick him, but
yeah.
I mean, I said that to you earlier. I was like, "What about Paul George?" And you were like, "Well, he hasn't played that much," and that's a good point. And like he kind of, I feel like sometimes he gets a little bit overshadowed by Kawhi.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, but I mean, no, it's not a bad pick. I'd rather see Paul George in an All-Star game over Rudy Gobert.
He gets overshadowed, but Kawhi is better. But earlier this season, like he was
cooking.
Super efficient.
He was cooking.
He heard the people talking. Like he heard those people talking about. I mean, he was horrible in the bubble, but like people were making it out to be like he wasn't a good player. Like, are you kidding me? Like, bro, he was up on the come up before his like
postseason.
Okay, I like
postseason.
I don't have it.
I have Paul George making it. I think he's towards the end. Like he's one of the guys I think that they'll pick towards the end of the bench. Him and another guy that I have like towards the end of the bench, and that's the one I'm kind of connecting to your guys' Zion pick. But I think Paul George will make it just on the fact that you said he's killing it this year. He's playing great, and then when he's on the court, he's great. And the
even
thing is,
yesterday, did you see the game yesterday?
I didn't watch it.
Against but did you like look at the box score or anything?
Nah. Well, that was who they play the Heat, right? Oh, the Nets. Oh no, I saw the game winner that like Jordan hit.
Oh yeah, technically.
Yeah,
technically that wasn't. But did you see he had 34, 12 of 19, 33 minutes, and they took him out the last 250 because he was on a minutes restriction.
Yeah, see, I don't like that. If you're cooking like that, keep him in.
Yeah, and like those few minutes aren't gonna hurt. Now, if he goes to OT, then I get not. But with 2 minutes left, and he has 34, and he's the reason they got closer. You might as well keep him in.
But, who you got as your next guy, Jordan?
I mean, I don't think this is that debatable. But I got I mean, the Suns are sitting in a hot fourth place. Devin Booker's averaging 24. I mean, I'm a fan of Booker. And I think I mean, you can't go wrong with him. I mean, you can argue against it. I don't know how, but I guess
because I was wondering where you were gonna go with that.
With the Suns, yeah.
I have Chris Paul. I have Chris Paul in the game over Booker because of the fact that he went there and turned them into the contenders that they are. Everywhere Chris Paul goes, they win. Like no matter what.
It's weird because when I see 23, 20, 25, 30 from Booker, I don't really think anything. I think like that's just a placeholder. But I look at Chris Paul's stats to see like how he affected the game. Because he doesn't even have a lot of assists a lot of times, but it's just like he's like
he's a coach.
He offered. Yeah,
he's literally a coach on the floor.
Yeah. He raises the level of the whole team.
Exactly.
He does go crazy. Like
he's the definition of it's more than a box score. It's deeper than the box score.
I think he had 8 blocks the other day.
Like
that's his average.
Chill.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, I have Chris Paul making it over him. I have Booker. I have Booker barely missing.
That's why I don't have Gobert because I have both of them.
Okay, so I mean, I like that. I like that you guys threw a Suns player in there, because they definitely deserve it. And I think honestly, between them, it's a coin flip. Like, who really cares? Who gets in over Paul and Booker? I think Booker cares.
Yeah, I said Chris Paul made it last year with the Thunder, so it's like, what is that? What's the difference then to now? Because their record is damn near even better now, I think.
Well, yeah, because they're like 19-11 right now. I want to say the Suns are.
But I want to bring this up too because we were talking about this before, and this is related. But with the Nick Young and Gilbert Arenas, they were debating if LaMelo Ball was a top 10 point guard. And it sounded like Nick Young didn't really know what he was talking about. He didn't
Some
have
hot takes, bro.
he put LaMelo above Chris Paul.
No.
He you got to see the video, dude. It was horrible.
I'll watch it. But I still have Chris Paul's like still damn near a top 5 point guard.
Yeah, like they were like damn near disrespecting Chris Paul, and it's like because a few years ago before Houston, I would have said the same thing about Chris Paul. I thought he was always hurt and he was declining. So I was kind of off Chris Paul. I'm like, he's washed up. But then I realized over these last few years, because I did not expect Houston to be that good when he got to Houston.
Oh.
Like the 6-foot guard, he's not gonna make them that much better than before. And they had the best record in the league. They won like 65 games. And then the next season they were good too. But then you see him, which is kind of crazy. That means he played for the Clippers 4 seasons ago. It don't seem that long ago. But you see what he did with the Thunder and made them a legitimate team, like 48 wins or something like that. They were
right around.
That's a really good record. That's crazy. And then they even made it to a game 7 in the playoffs against the solid Rockets team. And then you got him coming, and that's what's crazy is like we expected the Suns to be this good. This isn't like a surprise to us because we saw what he did with them with the Thunder last year, and then we seen the bubble with the Suns, and we thought they would have been good this year. But then you see Chris Paul, and you're like, they're not going to win the championship, but you're like, this team could really do something.
Yeah.
So, but that it's probably mostly because of Chris Paul. So, like I said, I got both of them.
Mm-hmm.
You guys don't have both of them?
I have Chris Paul.
I had both of them in it. I was just gonna bring up, like you said, like you expected this for the Suns, and that goes off like last year, like their end of the bubble 8-0. They were hooping, like they didn't make the playoffs or whatever. But like Monty Williams is a good coach. Like I like Monty Williams, so it all makes sense. I feel like even they obviously probably won't be a 4 seed, but I think they'd still be a pretty good team if they never made that trade. I mean, they were solid. So. Granted, CP3 is like a top 5 point guard still. Like that, they were on the come up anyways, and he was just like, boom, he just right over the top. Like, he just
have to bring
that's all I got to say on that.
This is kind of forced.
What we got next?
My next guy that I have, I don't think you guys have him. Well, I shouldn't say that, but I think we've come up pretty close to the end of the list. I have DeMar DeRozan.
I was thinking about putting him on the list, and I realized that. But AD.
That's where I was. Hang on.
Wait, no, because I think you said 7 people already.
That's what we're getting. That's what we're getting. So DeRozan is my 6th guy.
You can't say wait for AD.
Let me finish. So I have DeRozan in the game because of how surprising the Spurs have been this year.
Say your guys though. My bad, but who?
Lillard, Mitchell, Gobert, CP3, Paul George, DeRozan.
No, I'm thinking Lillard's a starter. So you said Lillard, CP3, Gobert.
Lillard, Mitchell, Gobert, CP3, Paul George, DeRozan. I've said 6 guys.
It's only 6.
Yeah. So I have DeRozan. He's averaging 25 and 7 on 25 rebounds and 7 assists on the season. And the Spurs are sitting like 5th in the West. He's just absolutely killing it. And honestly, it's coming a huge surprise for me.
Yeah. Well, not for me. I mean, I guess based off of last season, you could say it's a surprise because the Spurs, for the first time in forever, didn't make the playoffs. Or was that the year before?
It was last year.
Yeah. And I think they were under 500.
Yeah. Or like right around. They were like right around or barely under, I believe. But they also had a lot of injuries.
Yeah. But now you see he had another year with these guys, and DeJounte Murray's back. Like he always finds a way to make these weird names into like solid NBA players.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that was a guy who I was thinking about putting on there too, based off of impact, because it's like if you put CP3, then maybe you got to put DeRozan. But also, I think theirs is kind of like a Pacer situation where you got your standout player, but then you just kind of have everybody doing really well as a team, and you just have him who's kind of the standout. Where I think somebody like CP3, who I would put on above him, is a guy who like is the reason the team is doing well. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Rather than the coach making the team do well, and you just have kind of a standout player who fits the team well. Like,
yeah, I agree. I agree with you. The only fact I think DeMar, for what he's done this year, and where the Spurs are at, I didn't expect them to be this good. I thought that they would be fighting for an 8 seed, and they're sitting right around the 4 or 5. They've really been a surprise to me. And you know, overall, with what he's done, his points per game, and with just the success of the team, I think they deserve an all-star. And he's the only one on that team I think that even deserves a nod. You can throw in Murray, but he's not putting up crazy numbers yet. So I
had Murray.
Have you named the guy who you said was right there with Zion yet?
No, I haven't. That's my last guy.
Well, I see. Okay, yeah. Let's continue.
Okay, and then Shoulder, did you have anyone else?
Let's see. I just want to do a quick recap of everyone we've said. We have all said we have Dame, Donovan Mitchell. Rob doesn't have Zion, but we have Gobert, or Marlyn doesn't have Gobert, maybe. I got Booker, CP3, one of them. We said Anthony Davis, but I mean, yeah, he's been hurt, but he's Anthony Davis. Like,
well, we actually haven't said him yet. That's the thing.
We haven't gotten to this.
I'm sorry. I have Anthony Davis on my list.
We do, but that's what this guy is.
Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is the last man on my list that I have neck and neck with Zion. And the only reason I have him at the end of the list is because he's barely played any games.
Okay. I changed pretty quick, but
obviously Anthony Davis is a top 5 player in basketball. I'm not arguing that. He'd be starting if he was playing all season. But the fact that he hasn't really been playing games, I think there's guys that are more deserving than him just based off the fact that he hasn't played a lot of games this year. That's the only argument I have for him.
With the not playing a lot of games, I think you can still put him in over DeRozan.
It's close. I have him more so with Zion just because of the success of the Spurs over the Pelicans.
I think DeRozan and Zion should be your arguable guys, like them fighting for that last spot rather than
Zion's a lock for me.
Yeah, I think Zion would be more of a lock for me as well if the Pelicans were having more success on the season.
Yeah.
That's my only thing.
Reason I would say that he's arguable with DeRozan, but I think all my other guys are almost locks. Luka, Mitchell. Oh well, Luka's starting, but I put Dame in the starting line. I didn't want to see his name not in the starting line. But I got Dame, Mitchell, Zion, AD, CP, Booker, Paul George. Or see, because I think if you put Paul George is playing better than AD this year. So with them not playing that many games each, then I can see you putting Paul George over.
It's gonna be weird, like if AD doesn't make the game, but it's just he's been hurt all year, you know.
It's like, well, I guess it's based off coaches, but like the players had him starting over Kawhi.
Yeah,
which I think was dumb.
And my only. So, I mean, honestly, if you look at all of our lists, like we have like the constant same guys in there.
Got a couple of dark horses that I was thinking. Yeah,
that's where I was gonna go next too. You could go first, and I'll see if we mention like you mentioned the same guy I'm gonna bring up, but that's the only thing I have at the end of it is just AD Zion for the last guy on my bench, one or the other.
A couple of guys I think deserve a little bit of love, but probably aren't getting it. Like I got Ja. I think Ja's having a pretty good year, even though it's only his second year. I think if they were a higher seed than 9th, I think he'd probably get a little bit more recognition. Because I'm pretty sure he was up there in the votes. Sorry, I'm not 100% sure on that one.
I want to say he was right around 5 or 6.
Yeah, I mean,
you're probably saying.
And another person I think is having a really good year, but he's on a bad team, is Shea.
I threw him in there.
Yeah, I think he could be an all-star. He probably won't be this year, but I mean, those are my two, like, and Jamal Murray was also a guy I thought about, but
yeah, I thought about
one guy you guys haven't mentioned yet, which you kind of surprised me right there. You didn't mention him, is De'Aaron Fox.
I just said his name.
I didn't hear you say it.
Yeah, he probably.
But De'Aaron Fox, I think he's very deserving of being an all-star, but he's not going to make it over these other guards.
I think I mentioned him before, Shea.
He was the first guy that I have missing it. Behind AD Zion, I guess not the first guy, but guys we haven't mentioned.
Huh? Wow, how did I miss?
I have Ingram right under Fox. But Fox averaging 23, 3 and 7 on the season. He jumped up like insane this year, just like Jaylen Brown. And he's got such a bright future, but the Kings just don't have.
It didn't even seem like that was big of a jump to me, because I felt like he always did this, but his numbers are better, but their record is like similar to how it's been.
Oh, you talking about Fox?
Yeah,
with the Kings though, is like they have solid players. Like Buddy Hield is a really good player. Like he could add a lot of value to certain teams. Like if he went to the Bucks, like that's a really good team for him. And then you got Fox. Bagley is super stagnant.
He's just injury prone.
Their team doesn't mesh. Their team doesn't mesh well together.
Yeah.
Ron doesn't know how to draft.
You got a lot this year, though. You see teams that have potential talent-wise that like just don't have the coaching. Coaching plays a big part in it.
Yeah.
Because you got like the Magic, they're horribly injured this year. Well, like they make the playoffs pretty consistently because they don't have that good of a roster, but they're coaching.
Why are you so far in the camera, bro?
I had a good point I wanted to make.
I'll go ahead.
Who was this year too? And then the Hornets, like I was saying earlier, but say what you were gonna say.
I was just gonna say you mentioned coaching, and I just think I'm gonna call him out if he ever sees this. Luke Walton, you're a scrub. I just think he was really hyped about going to Sacramento. A lot of people were like, when the Bulls were looking for a coach at the same time Luke Walton was hired, and then he didn't get hired, and everyone was mad about it, including myself. And then Luke Walton and his stint in Sacramento has just shown that he's a coach, but I don't think he's a head coach. Like, I don't know.
Didn't he start off the undefeated?
Yeah, 24-0 to start this. He did not start that out. He had Steph, Clay, Draymond, like that team. They coached the team.
Steve Kerr was sick.
Yeah. But yeah, those are the guys I have like barely missing. I really, really, really agree on Shea. And then I think Fox and BI are right there. I didn't have Ja. Just the fact that Memphis team, they've been insanely injured. He was hurt earlier this season too. So I don't think that he'll get in, like even on the coaches' nods, because the team's success is so low. Say
that again. Who?
Ja.
Oh yeah.
I don't think he'll get in. I think next year will be
which sucks because he's really good.
I don't know why Jamal Murray has all-star talent. I don't know why he doesn't display it every night.
Because we're not in the bubble.
Because what it is like he won't even. It's not like he'll have a night where he just misses all his shots. He'll have nights where he doesn't take them. That's what's weird about it. I don't know.
Yeah,
but that's a coaching thing.
Definitely. And just the fact that I think, a lot of people look at the Nuggets' success just at Jokic as well, but that team is just so deep, and they've had a lot of injuries this year too. Will Barton's barely played, and Gary Harris, it seems like he forgot how to play basketball. This team is just different. But Jokic is just something else. But honestly, so we're all pretty much around the same thing. The West was honestly much more of a debate than the East, though. Especially when you come to the starters as well. But
the East, we had some pretty good debate around those last two because I still don't have Simmons on my East.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out tomorrow. That's the thing. The All-Star reserves get released tomorrow. I'm not sure the exact time. I'm hoping to drop the pod. I'm gonna start tonight. I'm hoping it drops or maybe around like noon tomorrow.
So I want to make one point. I don't mean to cut you off because I know it's your show. But let's do this. Let's concrete who we think are reserves, like for each of us. So that way we can kind of have it ready to go and see who out of the three of us is correct.
I have mine.
Okay. So like our own individual, you're saying, right?
Yeah, like I'm gonna write them all down. But so like who we have as our reserve. So Rob, who did you have as like these like your 7 guys? Like no like debating it. Like who do you think like is gonna be on that list tomorrow? What is that, the 23rd?
Okay. Yeah. So for the East, I have Lavine, Randall, Harden, Simmons, Brown, Tatum, and Sabonis.
Lavine, Randall, Harden, Simmons,
Brown.
So bold, you're not taking Jason Tatum. Brown, and who's the last one? Sabonis?
And Tatum.
Sabonis. Okay, my bad. I thought you didn't say Tatum. I was like, dude, come on. All right, what about your West?
Well, Lillard, Mitchell, Gobert, Chris Paul, Paul George, DeRozan.
What did you say? Dame, Don, Rudy, CP3, Paul George.
DeRozan.
And you said DeRozan.
And I'm gonna go Davis.
All right, I like that. Cool.
So you had no Zion.
No Zion.
And no Booker.
Bold. All right, who you got, Mark?
For the East, I got Zach. I got Harden. I got Tatum. I got Brown. I got Randall. I got Sabonis, and I got Trey.
Pretty on par with what I got. Randall.
And then for the West.
Hold on. Say that one more time. I'm so sorry. Zach, Harden, Tatum, Brown, Randall, Trey.
And Sabonis.
Okay. Word. All right. What's West?
I got Dame, of course. I got Mitchell, of course. And then I got Zion. I got AD. I got CP3. Booker. And PG-13.
Like to throw that one in there.
Okay. All right, let's see. Now I got to look at my list and see if I got locked in. All right, I'm going to go East first, obviously. So saying I got Zach and Harden as my top 2. I'm with Marlyn. I got Tatum in my 3rd spot on the reserves. I'm going to go Randall 4th. Randall. I'm going to go Sabonis. I got Sabonis and then Simmons. And then I'm going to go with Trey. It's pretty sure.
So you didn't put Jaylen Brown in?
No. Sorry. Sorry. I don't know. I think when coaches are, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like NBA coaches, when they're asked about the Celtics All-Stars, they're going to say Jason Tatum. Sorry, that's just me.
I think they're definitely going to say Brown too. He's been killing this year.
All right, I bet.
Yeah,
I'm not against you.
5.
All right, so for the West, we're pretty much on par 2. I got Dame. I got Donovan Mitchell. I got Zion. So you do have AD. I don't have AD. So
don't have.
He's going to make it, but I'm not going to put him. But I know he's going to make it. I'm just putting on who I want, who I think will make it.
Wait,
I think Booker.
You think
I'm not putting AD. I'm just not going to put him.
But you said you think this is who's going to make. You don't think he's going to make it then, or you just don't want. You don't think he should.
He's saying what he thinks will make it off of like just what he wants to happen as well.
And like what I've what I found today.
I put who I think will do it. And it kind of goes in line with what I want. But okay. I'm putting who I think. What are you guys putting?
I'm doing both.
I'm just kind of put I guess.
Well, yeah, who you think and who you want?
No, it's who I think will make it, but it's also based off of my opinion.
Mine too. So what about you, Joder?
Let's see. I had James, Mitchell.
I'm saying, is this who you think is going to make it?
Who?
This is who you think will be voted in, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, they can match up, but the priority is who you think will make it. That's what I thought.
Okay. This is who I think is going to make it Like, I don't know. I don't know how to, I mean, just based off like my thinking on it as far as like how I've seen how the last couple All-Star games have gone. I know like leaving Anthony Davis out is like so stupid, but I didn't even like look at, you guys got me all lost of words. I didn't research enough on Anthony Davis for this year. Because honestly, I've been trying to tune in. When I tune into Lakers games, obviously he's just been hurt and stuff. But
honestly, you could even put a question mark. Say he makes the game, he might not even play.
Yeah, I mean he'll probably be named and all. But yeah,
that's another thing is like KD. He'll probably get a what do you call it?
A replacement.
What replacement? Yeah.
Here, go ahead, Jody. Say your West.
Okay, who are Dame, Mitchell, Zion, Booker, Gobert. I got Rudy because God, it makes me sick that I'm saying Rudy.
Yeah, Rudy over AD.
I mean, just based off like where the Jazz are. Yeah, I don't know, and like him being the anchor of their defense. I know it's a tough call. Obviously, on any given day of the week, I'm taking AD over Gobert as a better player. I'm just thinking about this year.
It's not like the Lakers are far behind.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, that's one thing too. Like I saw this argument kind of towards I believe they were talking about it on like NBA on TNT, or I saw a clip or something. And it's just because I don't think Chuck, he didn't have Anthony Davis either on his All-Star team. But it's the fact that AD hasn't played to an All-Star level this year. Yeah, he's been great.
Yeah. Well, he played at an All-Star level.
But it's not Anthony Davis. Yeah, it's not Anthony Davis All-Star level. So you're seeing Anthony Davis put up 22 and 10, and you're just like, this dude's not playing that great.
For him.
Yeah, but it's great for any other player. But that's the fact of this year, him not playing on an All-Star level for himself. There could be someone else who's more deserving because they're having a career year. You know what I'm saying?
No, they still have to overlap in who's playing better. Like, for instance,
like I'll put it this way. Here, listen to this.
Yeah.
Listen to this. Okay, so say you're looking at Anthony Davis. Can one of you guys pull up, try to find how many games he's actually played this year?
23. I looked it up.
He's played 23 out of how many?
I think like 31.
Okay, so he's missed 8 games. So he still missed a good amount of games, and he's still hurt. He's going to be out for another 4 weeks.
I guess I have another spot because I crossed some guys out on my list. But
I'm going at the fact that
you got Paul George, and he played 22 games of 32. That's an even smaller percentage.
But he's had better numbers than Davis as well.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, remember Embiid's rookie year when he lost Rookie of the Year. He only played 31 games. He was the best rookie, but he didn't win because he didn't play enough games.
I mean, the games thing is the reason that I also am not just completely stamping them on the list. I mean, I am, but that's the reason that I even have a question.
That's what I'm saying. So I could see him not
enough games to where you could like Paul George. His is kind of iffy. That's the reason I kind of forgot. Like I think if Paul George doesn't make it, it'll probably be Gobert. But he played 22 games, which is a good amount of games. But they've played 32, so he missed 10 games, which is quite a bit.
It's either way.
23 of 31.
I think either way, if Anthony Davis makes it, we'll find out tomorrow, like I said. But even if he makes it, I don't think he's playing. You know what I'm saying?
He's not.
So,
but that's what I was saying is like, should we add 2 players who we think might come in for players that are gonna have replacements?
Well, that's where I got Zion. That's why I had AD at the end of mine.
I didn't think of it like that. That's
why I have AD at the end. If he makes it, yeah, he's not gonna play, so Zion gets it. But either way, say he doesn't make it, Zion's getting in.
I already got Zion on mine. So
that's where my one debate is, and then I have the other on the other side where, for the Celtics, like I don't know, the East isn't that injured, whatever. But say if like Durant opts out or something like that, or I could see Kyrie even opting out for the season.
I'll put Simmons in if Durant doesn't play.
But that's where I throw like Bam Adebayo making the game or something like that.
Over Trey?
Yeah.
My 7th spot. I'm stuck. While you guys are going discussing things, I actually had an open 7th spot because I crossed some of my guys off that I had before, and I was stuck between Anthony Davis and Paul George. I'm going to give the nod to Anthony Davis because he has played a couple more games and he's averaging, what was it, like 22 and 10 or something.
Paul George's stats are better though, but he played a bigger percentage of games. He only played one more game, but it's the Lakers have played less games.
Yeah, so like either way, like, I think it's still super close for everybody. Everybody, it's super close.
Yeah, this year's weird.
But either way, we'll find out tomorrow.
All variables that affect it.
And then we'll end up talking about this next week too. We'll talk about like the predictions that we had, see who was the closest or whatever, and then we'll get into what I said earlier in the pod about our midseason awards for next for the where we're at in the season.
Mm-hmm.
Wrap it up.
So yeah, we'll be meeting again. This is the first episode. Hopefully you guys like the first episode here of the Step Back. We'll be here every week. Maybe in the later on, if you guys are into liking the pod and there's a lot going on, we'll end up even making it a bi-weekly pod as well. Hope you guys liked it though. So for Marlyn Taylor and Matt Choder, I'm Robert Geary. We'll be back again next week. So we'll catch you then.